Hey guys, welcome back. So I got a video for y'all today all about these two palettes right here from BH Cosmetics. This one is the Take Me Back to Brazil 35 color pressed pigment palette. And then this one is the Take Me Back to Brazil Rio edition 35 color shadow palette. So they look pretty similar, but they are different for sure, but totally like go together, but we'll get into that. So we are going to talk about pricing. We'll look at the packaging. We will look at some swatches. I'll show you side by sides. We will talk about the formula of these shadows and how they are to work with. And then I'll give you my overall thoughts and impressions on these palettes. And then I will also show you a tutorial on how I did this fun, bright, colorful look right here. So yeah, let's get to it. So the price of these palettes will vary based on what kind of sales are going on at the time, but retail price, they're $18 each. I think I got them for around $13.50 or so during a sale, which is a great price point. Even $18 is a great price point. So as far as packaging goes, let me show you the outside sleeves on them both. So the Take Me Back to Brazil overall has kind of a white background to it. So that's what makes it a little bit different. And then the Rio edition has a black background to it. Very pretty. I just love how bright and colorful and happy they both are. This one is the original. This one is the Rio. So you can see the packaging on them. So they're nice, thick, sturdy cardboard, which I like. I think BH does a great job at having fun, cute packaging, but not raising the price point by making it super involved. And then as far as what you're getting in these palettes, they are both super duper colorful. So you gotta like color to like these palettes because these are fun, bright, colorful palettes. In the original Take Me Back to Brazil, this one is more of a matte satin sort of a palette. There are some shadows down here that are overall kind of a satin finish to them. Most all the others in the palette are true mattes. They really are mattes, but there are a couple of satins kind of thrown in here, but they're mostly right down here. Some of them, when I look at them, like almost look like they have a little bit of a satin sheen to them, but this is supposed to be an overall matte palette. But again, very colorful. You've got these down here that I would call these like tweaking shades where you can really use them for kind of tweaking the look of these up here. They're kind of a, these are sort of satiny and they're like duochromy highlighting sort of shades, and then this one in the middle is kind of a transforming, well, it's a black, but it can be used to kind of transform the look of these shadows up here. So this is the Take Me Back to Brazil, and the Rio edition is all shimmery metallic-y sort of shades. Just love the whole look of this palette. I love the black background. It just has this very, I don't know, Mardi Gras party sort of a theme to it. So super fun. Again, it's got that row down here of, each of them have this kind of a row where it's sort of like, if you want to play with color, you're still getting a lot of color in these palettes, but then you do have some kind of like, it's almost like the neutral spin on each of those rows. So this palette has that kind of neutral-ish sort of a row, and then also the original does as well. And then these down here are these kind of tweaking shades once again. In this palette, they are very shimmery. So you have to like shimmer. I love shimmer, I love glitter, and these definitely have shimmer in them. And then you have the black for being able to kind of transform your look. This one looks like it has a little bit more of a sheen to it than the one in the original. So that's what you're getting in each of these. Okay, now for some swatches. So the first two rows over here are the original Take Me Back to Brazil, and then these two over here are the Rio edition. So those kind of metallic-y, shimmery shades. All very, very pretty. And then these two over here are the Rio edition. So many fun like yellows and chartreuses in this grouping. So pretty. Here are the blue and green rows. Look at some of those metallic-y shades from the Rio. So again, Take Me Back to Brazil on these two rows, and then the Rio edition on these two rows. So pretty. So this one right here is an example like I was talking about from the Take Me Back to Brazil, the original, where this is really not a matte. It's almost a metallic-y color, but that one right there is the most extreme version of that. So that's what I'm saying, is that there are a few in there that are kind of more on the satiny side, but this one's kind of the extreme version of that scenario. But just so pretty. Those mattes, like this one is amazing. So pigmented and beautiful. And then the blues and purples. So once again, Take Me Back to Brazil on this side. These two, the Rio. Very, very pretty. I am going to get into formula on these, but just kind of wanted to point out, like, this one right here struggles, but then this one is amazing. So there's kind of some different things happening in here, but just wanted to specifically point out in a swatch that you can really see the difference in those two. But I mean, you've got that one right there. That's amazing. And then lastly, the transforming or tweaking type shades. So over here is the Take Me Back to Brazil palette, and then over here is the Rio edition. So you can see they really are similar in tone, but the Rio is just kind of the more amped up, more shimmery version of these over here, which is kind of really the overall theme of the two palettes, is that the Rio is the more metallic-y, vibrant, just more metallic version of the original. So this is the same kind of scenario. These are more metallic-y, and they do also have that shimmer in them. And the black is even more of a kind of metallic-y sort of a black. Very pretty though. And then as far as the formula goes on these shadows, just how they are to work with, and then my overall thoughts and impressions on these palettes. So not every shade in either of these palettes is perfect. I do notice kind of some different things going on in here. Just like I was pointing out with those purpley shades, there are just some different things happening in here. You could have one that is not very pigmented, but then a couple down you have one that is amazingly pigmented and really easy to work with. One thing I do notice several times is the ones that are kind of a satiny moving towards a metallic sort of a finish, they seem like they could develop hard pan fairly easily. So I just noticed that when I was swatching them. So that's avoidable. I would just say don't go swatching your palette all the time. I would just use brushes. So that'll help kind of avoid that sort of a scenario happening. One thing I do notice is that this row, in each of the palettes, it's just not very pigmented. So I definitely would have switched those out for something else. They're just not, especially in this one, they're just not all that impressive. So don't really love those. But as far as the mattes overall, let me show you these really quick. So again, these down here just aren't super duper like wow shades. But the mattes, overall the mattes are really, really good. They are pigmented, beautiful, vibrant on the eyes, easy to work with. I noticed the formula across pretty much all of these that I've worked with. They don't seem super soft. They don't seem to have a ton of fallout. They seem easy to blend. They seem vibrant in color on the eyes. They keep their differentiation on the eyes so they don't get muddied, which is definitely what you want when you're playing with colorful shadows. So the mattes are just overall really great. Some of them are a little bit gritty, like in this kind of area, which happens a lot across different brands, just those dark blues, dark greens, dark purples. A lot of times they're a little bit gritty in texture, but they totally work on the eyes. So do notice that with some of these. I really, really like the mattes overall. I think they're great. These metallic-y shades in this one overall are amazing. So I did want to point out those few scenarios that can kind of be in there sometimes, but there are far more positives to these palettes than negatives. Far more good shades than bad shades in these palettes. There's just a few little stinker shades thrown in each of them. But on the eyes, I think they're easy to work with. I think they're vibrant and beautiful and colorful and happy. And if you're looking to play with color, I think that these are great palettes to get because you're not breaking the bank. You know, if you're wanting to play with color and get into color, this is a way of doing it without spending $50, $60 on a palette. So great price point, fun packaging that work well on the eyes. Just know that most of them are really great, but there are a few in there that are like, meh, not so great. So those are my overall thoughts and impressions on these palettes. I really, really like them. I would definitely recommend them to you. I'm super duper enjoying them. So now we're gonna get to the tutorial on this eye look. Okay, so I've already applied some eyeshadow primer and set that. So I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try to do an all colorful look. I'm going to try my best to not bring in any neutrals and just use these palettes. So I'm going to first get this yellow right here, this matte yellow in the Take Me Back to Brazil, not the Rio edition, just the Take Me Back to Brazil, whatever I just said. Get this yellow on a Cozette S175 brush, and I'm going to apply this into my crease and transition area. I'm going to take this bright yellow right here. I really want to do just kind of like a yellowy green sort of a look on a Cozette D220 brush. These really do not have much fallout at all. Like when I'm tapping my brush, very little is coming off of my brush. Now I'm gonna take a small crease brush and get a little combination of these two greens right here. And this is what I'm gonna put in my outer corner. And just bring this over just a little bit. This is what I'm using for some depth and dimension. That's so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with some of that yellow, that kind of deeper yellow. Let me show you this one right here. And just gonna take a little bit more of that into my crease because I really want the crease to be yellow. And then I want a bright yellow lid, so I'm gonna get this color right here. This is from the Rio edition. So switching over to this palette. So we're gonna get some of that yellow right there on a flat brush. Ooh, this one does have some more fallout, but I got a lot of product on my brush. So this is, oh gosh, I think this is a Royal and Langnickel brush. I think that's where I got it from their website. It was really affordable. Just gonna apply this onto the inner half of my lid and just build up this color. As I'm applying this, I'm really pressing into my lid versus like swiping or anything, just to really make that metallic-y sheen come out and just make that color look really intense. As far as blending goes, I'm just kind of pulling up on my brush and using less pressure as I blend that into that outer green. So pressing more in here for that metallic sheen and then kind of lightening up my pressure here to blend that. Taking my small crease brush and just doing a little bit of light blending, just kind of going over things, making sure that color's still there. I'm barely touching as I kind of go over this metallic color in the middle of my lid. This is so fun. I'm really liking this. It's just something different. Okay, I'm gonna clean up my brow bone with just a matte, creamy shadow. This is not from the palettes, just any kind of a creamy shadow, a matte color that matches your skin tone. Okay, gonna apply some liner and mascara to my upper lash line and upper lashes. So I'm gonna use my Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper and my IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. So I'm gonna get these on and I'll be right back. Okay, went ahead and applied some concealer, powder, and bronzer. So for my lower lash line, I still wanna keep it nice and yellowy. So I'm gonna get some of this shade right here from the first Brazil palette, not the Rio edition. So we're gonna get some of that on a BH Cosmetics number 10 brush. And I'm just gonna line this along my lower lash line. That's a slightly warmer yellow, so I'm gonna get a little bit more of this color right here and just run over that just to keep it kind of a greeny yellow look. And now I'm gonna take my Rio palette and get some of that same shimmery yellow that we used on the lid and gonna get that on that number 10 brush. I'm gonna spray it. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of this on the inner half of my lower lash line. Gonna apply some of my CoverGirl Clump Crusher to my lower lashes and I'll be right back. And then on the inner corners of my eyes, I want a little extra pop of light yellow. So I'm gonna get some of this shade right here from the Rio palette on a little pencil brush. And I am gonna spray it because I want it to be real fun and metallic-y. And just apply this on the inner corners of my eyes and build this up. Alright guys, so that wraps up this video. So hope that you really enjoyed it and hope it was helpful for you. Please do a thumbs up if it was, and let me know down below if you've tried these palettes, if you own them, or if you've just eyed them. What are your thoughts about them? Do you love playing with color, or do you want to kind of jump into color? Is it uncharted territory for you? I would love to hear your thoughts and impressions. Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer those. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!